Well, good evening, Arkansas. This is Chief Forecaster coming back here once again here to give you guys your evening forecast preview before your 7-day forecast comes out at about 7:30 this evening here. So, if you're a fan of rain chances and some really cool weather coming in, I've got some great news for you coming up here in just a little bit. But first, we got to talk realistic, guys. We got to talk about what's going on right now, and temperatures continue to be more like summertime than it is fall right now. We've got 95 degrees in Russellville right now here, 93 in Little Rock, 90 in DeQueen, 90 in Texarkana, 93 in Camden right now, the 80s up there in far northwestern Arkansas, that's Mount Home, and towards the Fayetteville area, 91 in Fort Smith, 90 degrees in West Memphis, 93 in Jonesboro. So unfortunately, the 90s are going to continue. I think some places today, I think back out northeast Texas and east Oklahoma made a run for it, 98, 99. I think we stay away from the 100s. I hope we do. But we are going to make a run for that 95, 97 degree temperature range as we get towards this weekend. And then I mentioned before, some exciting news coming up as we get towards the next week here. So let's talk about your evening highlights here. Unfortunately, for the next 5 to 7 days, I think beyond that 7-day time frame, we should start talking about some rainfall moving back to Arkansas. But at least the short term, not really expecting a significant amount of rainfall. As a matter of fact, not expecting any rainfall over the next 5 days here. So the drought conditions, the wildfire danger, and stuff like that is going to continue for us here in Arkansas. As I mentioned before, temperatures continue to feel more like summer versus fall right now. I do believe that will change as we get towards next week. And speaking of next week, an incoming significant pattern change as we get towards probably around that Thursday and Friday time frame. Timing is still being worked out with computer model data right now, but we are expecting at least some sort of strong cold front moving through as we get towards late next week and into next weekend here. So, speaking of the wildfire danger, let's talk about the burn bans here. Not much of a change to the burn bans. I do believe over the next couple of days, before this front gets here, I wouldn't be shocked if a few counties, especially in central and southern Arkansas, are added to the burn ban risk. It's not as wet as some of the county judges are thinking right now, especially in central and south Arkansas, because you haven't had a lot of rain. So I wouldn't be shocked if some of these burn bans were to get added back, especially tomorrow or early next week here. Speaking of that, like I said, speaking of wildfire risk, some counties up there in northeastern Arkansas got added with this latest update. This particular product just kind of tells you how dry it is right now, especially across central and southern and eastern Arkansas here, guys. So we definitely need the rainfall here across the area, and I think over the next 7 days we should start to flip the script back to a more fall-like pattern here. So let's talk about tonight here. Not much of a change from last night into the night. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s, possibly some upper 60s possible. That's been the trend over the last couple of days here. Temperatures has just been kind of steady during the overnight hours because we've had dry air in place and stuff like that here. It's just the daytime we have dry air in place. Daytime temperatures really go into the mid to upper 90s, especially across the area. So just keep that in mind here. I think we will change that as we get towards next week, but for tonight, not much of a change here, especially as we get towards northern Arkansas here. Northern Arkansas, you guys have been kind of flirting with that 62, 63 degree range here. I think you may warm up just a little bit as we get towards night here. So let's talk about next week. Okay, I'm going to start you guys off with the WPC. This is just kind of a total precipitation look as we get towards next week. Now, keep this in mind. We're at Thursday. Okay, we're at Thursday right now. We're talking a week away. You're talking 7 days out. So don't go off of these specific rainfall totals. They're going to change a lot as we get towards the next couple of days here. But let's take this out. So you can see before we even talk about late next week, not a drop of rainfall at all here in Arkansas. So we desperately need any kind of rainfall we'll get. And then you can see by the time we get towards that Thursday time frame here, about half an inch to an inch of rainfall could be possible across the area. It's not a lot, but I will take any rainfall that we can get at this point here. And keep in mind, if the front slows down or there's more moisture to work with, rainfall totals could end up going up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that here. But that is associated with our cold front as we get towards next week here. Now let's take a look at the GFS, and then I'm going to go over to the European model here. Now this is the GFS here. It's a little bit more, kind with the rainfall totals here. It has rainfall totals near 2 inches of rainfall, especially across central and in southern Arkansas here. North Arkansas, you definitely need the rainfall too, but central and south is a little bit more of a dire situation than it is in northern Arkansas right now, because you guys have been benefiting over the last couple of events here. But let's take a look at the temperatures here, okay? The temperatures are going to be one of the biggest stories with this cold front. Let's take us back all the way through. As you can see, as we get towards Wednesday, there's your cold front pushing through. Temperatures in the 80s ahead of it, 60s and 70s behind it. You could see some isolated severe weather as we get towards next week. We'll pinpoint all that information out over the weekend into early next week here. But you can see this with the cold front, with the GFS, and you take this out. Take a look at this. This is Thursday morning. Temperatures in northwest Arkansas, if you go with the GFS, temperatures could be in the upper 40s up here for overnight lows. So keep that in mind. When we get towards next week, things are going to start getting a little more exciting. We'll let you guys know about this. But this is just the GFS right now. I'm going to show you the European model here in just a little bit. But you can see, if you go with the GFS right now, daytime highs back in the upper 60s, low 70s here. I'm going to move the map down so you guys can see South Arkansas. But yeah, temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s, possibly near 80 in South Arkansas. But this is beautiful. This is beautiful weather here in Arkansas instead of the mid to upper 90s that we're currently seeing right now. And you can take this out all the way to next Friday morning. And this is the GFS. Like I said, this is the GFS. This is one model. But if you were to go with it, you're talking about temperatures widespread 40s across northern Arkansas, near 50 degrees from central and south Arkansas here. And as you get towards next Friday, look at there. Temperatures struggling to get down to 50s in northern Arkansas, 60s and 70s across the state. So that is some beautiful weather coming in if you were to go with the GFS model here. Now let's take this over to the European model, and you're going to see what the European model is going to change here in just a little bit. There's Europe. So temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, near 80 degrees. I think there will be a blend of the two, where North Arkansas is in the 60s and Central and South Arkansas is in the low to mid 70s here, especially with this this air mass coming in. So keep that in mind. This is still not bad for this time of the year here, especially where we are right now, because where we are right now is mid to upper 90s. That's like 10 to 15 degrees above normal. So you can see with the Euro, there's the European model. And look at here, by the time you get towards next weekend, temperatures overnight in the upper 40s to low 50s across states, mid 50s possible. But I think the European model solution may be just a little bit too warm, and the GFS may be a little too cold. So you blend the two. You're talking about overnight lows in North Arkansas in the upper 40s, central and south probably in the low to mid 50s across the area here. So that's all I got for you guys. One more thing I want to address is the fall outlook is still on our Patreon if you want early access to it. We are going to have, I'll probably have a video on YouTube on Sunday going over the fall outlook, so you guys have access to that. And then I'm going to start working on the winter outlook. The winter outlook is going to be really awesome, especially for us here in Arkansas. So if you want to go check that out, it's on patreon.com/Arkansas Weather Watchers. We'll keep you guys updated right here, your source for all things Arkansas weather.